Welcome to Taichi's Kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to make 5 dishes using Kiri-Mochi, or also known as rice cakes. So if you're living outside Japan and when you hear the word mochi, you probably think of these. But for us Japanese, these are not mochi, these are daifuku or daifuku-mochi. But somehow outside of Japan, people caught up the wrong part of the word daifuku-mochi and call this mochi. So what does it refer to when we say mochi? When we hear mochi, we think of these. I've recently made a video on how these are made traditionally. Traditionally, these rice cakes are made by pounding the mochi rice using a big stone mortar called usu, big wooden hammer or mallet called kine. Some people also don't know that the mochi rice and the regular Japanese sticky rice are 2 different kinds of rice. Mochi rice contains much higher starch, and that's why it's so gooey and so stretchy. But nowadays, even in Japan, most people don't make this traditionally like this. But instead, some houses have mochi machine where mochi is steamed and also pounded on its own, which I've shown in this video of Japanese New Year's. For us, we associate mochi with New Year's. As I showed that video, I got some requests on if we can make this on our own. And so today I'm showing how to make Kiri-Mochi yourself without any special tools, even without this special mochi rice. Even where I live in Germany, I found these mochi glutinous rice flour. So I'm showing a very easy way to make Kiri-Mochi quite authentically. Even from the flavor, I couldn't really tell the difference. It's actually very easy, so if you're interested in that, I hope you give this a try. In this video, I'm showing 5 different ways how you can eat mochi, 3 savory dishes, or actually 2 savory dishes and 1 snack, and 2 sweet dishes. These 2 sweet dishes we kind of eat more as a dessert, but it's really up to you however you want to eat this. So I hope this video gives you some new insights about mochi, and I really also hope that you try this yourself as well. Then without further ado, let's get started. Here are the ingredients for 5 mochi recipes using glutinous rice flour. Here I have the glutinous rice flour, sometimes it's called sweet rice flour or mochiko. These 3 are all the same thing. These are powder form of mochi rice or glutinous rice. Don't use regular rice flour, the 2 rice are very different kinds, so make sure you get these. And for the topping I have 2 savory and 2 sweets. For Mizore I have soy sauce and Daikon radish. And for Isobe-Yaki I'm going to use also soy sauce and Nori seaweed. And for the sweet variation, I have here kinako or roasted soybean flour. In some countries you may be able to find it online. And then also salt and sugar. Make sure you get the sugar that is quite fine like this. You can of course use also powdered sugar. And for anko I'm using canned. What it is, sweet bean paste. You can also make this yourself. I also have another video on that, so if you don't know how to make it yourself, check that out as well. Then let's get into it. And by the way, when you go to Japan, you can buy these so-called Kiri-Mochi. When we say in Japan mochi, these are what we think of mochi. These are sold in pretty much any supermarket, and also because these are sold in room temperature, not refrigerated. In many places you can buy this also online. Instead of making it yourself, you can also buy these like this, and all the recipe that I'll show today, you can make them using these mochi. As the first thing, let's measure the mochiko. In here I'm going to measure 100 grams of glutinous rice flour or mochiko. Okay, perfect. And here I'm going to put in a 1-to-1 ratio of water, so exactly 100 grams. Okay, perfect. Then we're going to mix this. Make sure you mix this thoroughly, so there's no powder part left. So once it gets mixed like this, then this is good. And cover it with saran wrap like this, and let's heat it up in the microwave. Then we're going to heat it up for about 2 minutes. So after 2 minutes, so be very careful, this is very hot. And let's mix it up a little bit, because with microwave it gets cooked unevenly like this. So just like that a little bit, and cover it up again. Then heat it up for another 30 seconds or so. Just like that, and then mix it up a little bit more. So this looks good. And if you're cooking like this in a microwave, I suggest using a plastic container like this. Otherwise, if you're using glass or porcelain, then this gets really hot, so be very, very careful. Then let's put this on a cutting board. So in a working space or a cutting board like this, I'm gonna put some starch. Whatever starch you have is fine. and then flatten it a little bit like this. Oh, be very careful you don't burn your hands. This is very hot. And just gonna try to make it as square as possible, but doesn't really matter. So then, this is finished. If you're gonna eat it in the same day, you can just eat directly like this, or you can roast it a little bit. But today I'm gonna make Kiri-Mochi and save it for later. So I'm gonna put it in saran wrap and let it cool. And later I'm gonna put it in the fridge and let it solidify. So this has been cooled in the refrigerator for 5 hours or so. As you can see, this has gotten harder and this is much easier to work with. Then I'm gonna cut these up in small pieces. And today I'm gonna cut into kind of smaller bite-sized pieces. And so for us, these are a form of Kiri-Mochi. When we think of mochi, we think of these. And before we cook this, let's prepare all the rest of the ingredients. So as the first thing, I'm gonna grate Daikon radish. So when you use a Daikon radish, the bottom part and the top part taste quite differently. The top part tastes a little bit more sweeter, and the bottom part has a little more tanginess, a little more bitterness to it. So many people prefer using a top part for when you're eating them raw, but some people prefer the little tanginess when you eat raw. But today I'm gonna use the top part to go with mochi. And probably just that much or so. So it's really a preference thing if you want to peel this or not, but today I'm going to peel this. It's a little bit too thick to grate them, so I'm going to cut this in half. Then we're going to grate this. Then that's finished for that. Then as the next thing, we're going to prepare the kinako. So kinako itself is flavorful, but doesn't taste like sweets, so we're gonna mix this with sugar. So kinako and sugar, we're gonna mix this with 2:1 ratio. So for that, I'm gonna take 2 tablespoons of kinako. And then this, I'm gonna mix 1 tablespoon of sugar. And then to that, I'm gonna mix in just very tiny bit, a pinch of salt. This very small amount of salt is gonna kinda help to bring out the sweetness more somehow. Very small amount, pinch like this. And then we're gonna mix this up. So it's really a preference thing how sweet you want it. Just kind of try it out yourself, and then you can put a little more sugar into it when you want it a little more sweeter, or also a little bit more kinako if you want it less sweeter. Then this is done for that. And then for the anko, I just need to open the can. Oh, this looks good. As the next thing, we're gonna prepare the nori seaweed. Depending on how old or how stale it is, if it's fresh, you can use it directly, but I kind of like to roast it a little bit, so I'm going to show you how to do that using an electric stove like this. I'm going to turn the heat to medium or so, then we're going to wait a little bit until this area gets a little bit heated. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay over it for a couple seconds and then flip over and then lay over a couple seconds, so it gets a little bit roasted. Like this, and then you switch aside. So doing it just for about a minute or so is enough. I'm going to turn the heat off. Then this gets more crispy. If your nori is not as crispy like this, then you want to give it a little roast like this, and it gets crispy, and also the flavor is much better like this way. So if you have a stale nori, I suggest you try this method. And by the way, when you're storing nori seaweed, make sure you store it sealed. I use a bigger Ziploc like this, and try to get as much air out as possible. And then seal like this, and make sure you store it in the fridge because nori gets stale very fast, and once it's stale, the flavor is not that good. So when you store them, make sure you do that. Before we go further, I want to show you these arare, or sometimes called Okaki. These are very similar to so-called senbei or osenbei, but they're quite very different. Senbei is made from regular sticky rice, and these are made from mochi rice. How to make them is also quite very easy. You take the same mochi dough, and you want to cut them in thin slices. You leave it in open air and let it dry for 5 days to a week or so. And make sure they're completely dry like this. And then we're going to fry these. And turn the heat to high and bring this to about 150, 160 degrees or so. Once this has reached 160 degrees or so, I'm going to turn the heat to medium. Then here I'm going to put in these dry cut up mochi. Then I'm going to keep frying like this. And make sure you turn around every now and then. And then after 2-3 minutes, as these expand like this, then this is finished. And let's take these out. Then this is done for that. Then here I'm going to sprinkle some salt. And then once this is cooled down, then this is finished. Okay, let's grill the Kiri-Mochi. It's actually better to grill this on a stove, especially if you have a mini stove like this. But you can also grill this with a pan like this. So today I'm going to show you how to do this. So first I'm going to heat up the frying pan with a medium heat. Then I'm going to put in the Kiri-Mochi. Make sure you put them away from each other like this, otherwise they puff up and stick to each other. Then I'm going to put the lid on and let it grill for a couple minutes like this. So after a couple minutes, I'm going to flip the other side. Oh yeah, it's got seared just a tiny bit. It's looking good. Then I'm going to put the lid back on and keep grilling like this. So after another couple minutes, let's see how they turn out. Not bad. A little bit burnt, but it's okay. I'm going to keep searing like this for several more minutes. So after a bit more, I'm going to see the other side. Oh yeah, it's looking good. I'm going to flip the other side and keep searing like this. So another couple more minutes has passed. Let's see the other side. Oh yeah, looking good. I'm going to sear the other side one more time. So another couple minutes has passed. Let's see this. Oh yeah, perfect. Great, looking great. Let's put the flavoring and toppings. So first I'm gonna make Isobe-Yaki with soy sauce. So I'm just gonna dip this in right here. And then we're gonna wrap this with Nori seaweed. Just like that. And then next, I'm gonna put the grated Daikon radish on top of it. And then put a little bit of soy sauce over it. Just like that. And then for anko, I'm gonna put the anko over it. Just like that. And then for kinako, if you put it in this like this, then the kinako is not gonna stick to it. And so for that you need hot water. And what you do is you dip this mochi in hot water like this. And then just gonna make it a little bit soft like this. And with this way, you can dip it in the kinako like this. And put a little more kinako over it. Like this. And just like that, all 4 kind of Kiri-Mochi recipes are finished. With arare or fried mochi, let's eat. Oh, these look so great. Now let's eat. Itadakimasu. And let's start with Isobe-Yaki. Itadakimasu. The soy sauce is just perfect to go with mochi. And the Mizore-Mochi, it's a bit difficult, so I'm gonna first cut it in half like this. Itadakimasu. This grated daikon adds a little more freshness to it. And today I use soy sauce, but you can also use dashi or ponzu for this. You can also try different things. And let's try with anko. And also I'm gonna try to cut it in half. Itadakimasu. This anko is also really good to go with mochi. And lastly, the kinako. Itadakimasu. Oh, this kinako is just so perfect to go with mochi. For me, kinako is the favorite. Oh, so good. Oh, I love this kinako mochi. Whoever thought of this combination of kinako and mochi is just so perfect. And then after a little bit of sweet things, I'm gonna have a little salty dish of these arare. Itadakimasu. Oh, so crunchy. Oh, they were all so totally delicious. ごちそうさまでした. Oh, they're all so totally delicious. So as you saw, making Kiri-Mochi or rice cake, as well as these recipes using mochi, is quite easy and manageable. So I really hope you give these a try yourself, because they're so delicious. If you did enjoy this video, I'd love it if you could hit the like button for me. And if you have any feedbacks, requests, or any questions, please feel free to write anything in the comments below. And if you want to see more of these videos, please subscribe. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.